Hello and welcome. I hope you're all safe and well. I hope you can all hear me. Let me know in the comments where you're from. We've got an exciting kind of roundup of really quite interesting stuff for you today. As ever, I'm flying by the seat of my pants. I've got about a million tabs open that I want to show you various different technologies and solutions and ideas today. And we're going to get into that kind of world models kind of idea and start to really unpack what the future has really for the assessment community. Say hello, drop us a line, tell me you're there. It's important for me to know that I'm not just talking to myself. It'd be really helpful to me. So I'm going to add this to the stage and go to here and get rid of that banner there. And we'll leave the sponsors up there for the moment. So let's go through this. So let's just remind us who I am. So my name's Tim Burnett. So Tim, hopefully you can see that. Okay. So I'm a kind of member of the assessment community. I try to do my best to help and thank you, Graham. How was your birthday? Yeah, it was great. I had a really good day. As I said, I did some teaching and then I took myself off to the pub to do some vibe coding in the pub in the afternoon. It was a really nice day. Back to me now, but thank you for the birthday wishes. If you haven't seen on LinkedIn, I've got the playbook, which I'll talk to you in a second. You can go and get that checked out there, but that's my little gift to everyone. So I try to do my best to help and assisting people trying to understand the potential for AI and technology as well within the assessment space. And I do that by the work that I do with the Community.Network. So if you've not been on it, you're on there now. Got this fantastic range of, you've got knowledge base, you've got content marketplace. I've got building up collections around certain topics and areas. I'm really trying to just provide this kind of bridge really to all these amazing diverse communities that were in the assessment space. I do a lot with the ATP, the Association of Test Publishers, particularly with the European conference there. Like I mentioned, I do some part-time teaching for apprentices, and that's really great because I get to kind of try out some of the ideas of using technology and AI generated tools. So for my class yesterday, I did a game show based design. Built that using Claude. I think I did that, and built an artifact and enabled the students to play a game within there. I also co-host the It Depends podcast, and I'm a former member of the Assessment Association, so I've just dropped off the board there because we've gone through a rotation, but I do recommend, as with all the amazing communities, ATP, EATP, that you do get involved in all those. You can find me on LinkedIn and check me out whenever you're there. So the other big news was I put out this holiday, the AI adoption playbook for UK awarding organisations. It could be used by a lot of organisations, really, but the context of it and the explanations and the information that's in there has been put together purely around the idea of what it's like to work in the awarding organisations. And I took a lot of time to speak to some consultants in the space and gain their feedback on it. And it's edition 1. It's there's I'm going to have to do lots more because this is such a fast moving place, but where it really starts is the foundation of governance and think about their ideas. And I think even the first play really kind of looks at, well, do you really need AI? Because there's conversations I've had over the years with many organizations when they say about using technology, and it's kind of why do you need it? And sometimes it boils down to the fact that you don't necessarily need such an elaborate range of technology out there. You don't necessarily need to jump straight to using generative AI for something. If you think about the way I kind of think about it a little bit is, if you think of algorithms as that kind of computer programming, the logic that something would follow through to perform something, you've got these kind of rules-based ones, which are simple, like multiple choice kind of answering options. They get it very accurate because there's quite a strict rules-based logic there. This one's right, this one's wrong. Whereas if you start using generative AI, there's some great scope and potential there, but there's a factor of this. They call it hallucinations, which is kind of technically a technical term for BS, really, when it's just making stuff up. But also, if you imagine if you were baking a cake with AI. If you took a rules-based approach, you're probably going to have the same cake every time. Whereas if you took generative AI approach, sometimes you might have this most amazing cake, and sometimes it might be an absolute disaster and just melt on the floor. So the idea of this playbook is to help you go through the stages and steps in your thinking. There's 37 plays. It's quite a lengthy document worth reading through, and you can download it for free if you go to my LinkedIn page. Follow me on LinkedIn. You can see I've got a birthday present for you, and that's there for the next 12 hours or so. And one of the big principles I want to get across in this and everything we do is always to be thinking about being AI forward, not necessarily AI first. And the main differentiation I kind of make in this is that an AI first organization would be an organization that's solely focused on AI. So, the objective being that they want to get as much profit and performance out of the business with using generative AI, and they're not necessarily a people-thinking organization. And I think it's so important that within our space that we need to think about the people, and that reflects within the businesses we run and what we do. So, think about your literacy, AI literacy, your ability to use and try out technology and move forward with that. But don't go in this thinking that we're going to kind of let's just do away with humanity and make it an AI first kind of world. We need to retain some humanity in there. As we go through today, I just want a big thank you out to the sponsors. I've got them ticking away at the bottom there as well. You can see them on the page below your presentation. So Credible, AQA. AQA have got some research, if you follow the link on there, about their work in AI marketing. That's really worth looking at. ASC, that's assessment systems. Nathan and the team do some brilliant stuff with blogs. I just come back to Credible. Credible's an organisation, they do digital badging. I've worked with them through proof of concept and using their kind of integration technology, so it's worth checking that out. For digital badges, Capsan, the go-to person for me, Steve Depp and the team, just in terms of localization and language. Cirrus do some brilliant stuff with their assessment platform. Colrind, great to see Kevin supporting this podcast. There's a sad loss of John there, but Colrind is still very much part of our ecosystem. Excelsoft do some great work with online proctoring and micro AI apps, secure and confidential documents, printing, and for me, paper is still very much part of our assessment mix, and it's an important part of it. And as we go to more authentic, then we need to keep them in the loop there. TestReach do some brilliant work with online proctoring. They've got some great new clients on board as well, some accountancy ones. And Veretta do some just incredible kind of just completely alternative thinking around the assessment space, and it's worth kind of contacting Anna and the team there out in Canada for that. So thank you for the sponsors for this. Effectively, I do all this for free, so that sponsoring support helps me basically pay for all the amazing AI solutions that I have to support. I have licenses, subscriptions going out every left, right, and center. Let's just look at some trending stuff that are going. So just do some of the topics. So we talked about the proliferation and evolution of AI agents. AI agents are this, we'll kind of cover a little bit more, but the ability for something to do a task for you. I think 2025 was seen as being the year of the AI agent. I don't think it's necessarily evolved that way. We're still very cautious, and they are being used to do some tasks. And I know from the awarding organizations I've spoken with, they are exploring use of agents, particularly things like Copilot Studio, to perform some summarization or document search or chat-based tasks for organizations. So it's worth checking them out. I'm actually going to be doing a workshop at the FAB conference later on in November. So if you're at the FAB conference in Milton Keynes, it's a new location, then you can join me for a double session on that. Job disruption. So we're probably not seeing as much of this, but I do know from speaking with people who are in the kind of development side, there is this kind of silent layoff going on. And we'll look at vibe coding a little bit as well as part of today's session. And it is something which we need to be very mindful of. There is going to be some transition. There is going to be some disruption. Some people are predicting huge amounts. Some people are really playing it down. It's hard to kind of gauge at the moment. And then back to that AI forward, not AI first, I think. Computer use agents and AI-enabled browsers. So Google have just launched out their Chrome, an AI-enabled browser. It's got Gemini baked into the actual browser itself. If you think about the kind of distribution model for these tools, where we've been so far has been, you sign up a license, you use ChatGPT, you use Claude, whatever model you're using it within a kind of particular SaaS almost based chatbot tool. But we are seeing now the AI coming into the platforms and services that we're using. So if you're using Copilot, you can now use that within your applications like Word and Excel. Gemini, which is a Google one, you can use that within the Google Workspace tools. But they're now baking these into the browsers themselves. And I'm going to show you Comet from Perplexity, which is an AI-enabled browser. I haven't quite got the Gemini one yet because everything gets sort of launched out in America, and it takes time for it to kind of proliferate through to us over here. Also, let's go back on that second. Also, description to traditional search and content models. We're going to have a quick look at that today. And then this kind of question is SaaS dead? And that's kind of loops back to the vibe coding piece there. So a quick poll for you, because I like to do a bit of polling. You should have below your display screen for this, there we go, you should have a little chat window now saying which LLM tools are using this little word cloud thing. I'm quite interested to see what applications you're using, if you're using Copilot or Copilot Pro, Copilot Work or something. Just fill in the chat and just submit through. And let me know what you're using. Hopefully you can all see the little tool just below. You can put it into chat as well if you want, but let's try the word cloud thing out. There we go, Copilot coming through, ChatGPT. What else we got? Any more? Copilot. Yeah, it's coming in there. There are some differences between the Copilot you get as part of an enterprise solution at work. They have some features, but not a massive amount. Gemini in there as well. There are a great range of models out there. DeepSeek obviously came from kind of China. Minstrel is the kind of European French one. There is a Swiss model out there as well. Actually, I've not tried myself yet. Well, these are all the kind of, I suppose, frontier models which are available through applications and licenses. There is a great kind of series of number of models which are available now that you can download and use locally on their Perplexity in there. Yep, thanks. Let's read this a little bit. Perplexity Pro. I would be the one kind of caution I give to anyone is whatever model you're using, be cautious if it's a free access platform, because literally if it's free, then the product is you. I would be cautious about Meta, Copilot, Meta and Grok as particular tools space, just because of the way they're trained and just because of Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk, in my kind of personal opinion. DeepSeek as well, there's that risk of information going out to China or places that you don't necessarily have control over. But there's nothing wrong with, if you wanted to download DeepSeek, put that in there. But Copilot, I'm interested to know with the Copilot people if it's the enterprise or the one through Copilot Pro, because there are some big differences in what the capabilities are. So we're talking about world models a bit more here. So artificial general intelligence has always been the kind of one of the big dreams, and enterprise. Thank you for that. Was been one of the big dreams of, and these were the 5-stage steps that were laid out by Sam Altman from ChatGPT, OpenAI ChatGPT, about his kind of vision towards it. Now, we've kind of moved on a little bit from when this was first shared, but we've had the creatives, we've had the kind of chat-based tools, we've had the reasoning models now for some time. I think it was about a year now. We've had O1 and O3 were introduced into the idea of thinking through the process. That then enables you to then have agents can think through the steps of a particular activity. Then you've got the innovation stage where you can start to solve real world problems, and then you've got organizations where you can effectively bring all these together to start running a company all by itself. Where we're seeing world models, and I suppose the next thing is that AI is great, and large language models are just that. They're language models. They're looking at text and information. And we're seeing a lot about video models as well. And we'll have a quick look at those as well today. But world models really start to kind of fill in the blanks in terms of understanding humanity and the space and the world in which we live in, because it's all very well you're having an AI model that could reply to an email or write some copy for a page, but you can't then use those models in robots to drive cars and to understand the world around us, because there's just so much more to take in there, this kind of spatial space that they need to understand. Just a quick thing on thinking then was this idea of reasoning, thinking through the stages, and that has enabled us to have these kind of agentic models as well. And I'm going to dip into some examples here, but just the nice thing about the kind of agent tools is you've got these kind of retrieval search tools, you've got these task-based ones, and then you could potentially have autonomous ones. I think a lot of us have had some cautions about fully autonomous agent-based activities. Task-based is something that's taking a bit more of a kind of step forward. And the way I run the Test Community Network, I have a series of tools. I'm using agents from Zapier as my kind of platform, and they're fantastic for me to absorb in an article link that I think is worthwhile, and then I pass that to an agent with some instructions that say, okay, right, pull out the information from this, the copy from this, come up with a good question that's this is answering this piece of content, and it does a brilliant job of then translating that messy stuff. And I think this is the thing about way we understand AI and how it's going to kind of its role within life is it needs to, if it's really truly AI does, it needs to take this messy world that we live in and understand it. And that's where we're seeing it be able to do that with messy copy and understand reading a web page. And one of my agencies does a brilliant job. I can give it a web page that's got an event information on it, it's got dates for the webinar or something. It's able to take all that information out and put that into a database, and does a fantastic job at that. We need to then, that's the kind of easy stuff with text. If I was to send it out to the street and go and find something, a piece of information, then it would struggle because it doesn't necessarily understand the world in which we live on. But we're going to get there. Right, I'm going to do some quick demos just for those who've not seen some of this before. There we go. Right, so this is Test Community Network website. I just wanted to point this out very quickly. So on top we've got collections, and one of the collections is the sponsors for today's webinar. So one of the things I've been able to build as part of my work in here is this idea of deep research. So if you've not seen deep research before, so here I've got Gemini deep research loaded up. So this is Gemini. I'm on a pro account here. You can do this with ChatGPT, you can do it with Perplexity, but they've all got these deep research technologies, and I'm going to hit fire here. So I've got, in the context of professional assessment, which item type is better in terms of validity and integrity, multiple choice or short answer questions. I'm going to send it off doing a research task. And what's great about this kind of agent is it's going to go off and troll the world and space. And it's back to that world thing, it's just looking at text. Yeah, it's not looking at everything around it. It's not doing some kind of other significant steps around it as well. It's going to just put together a research plan. I'm interested to know how many of you are, so thumbs up, there we go. How many of you, just on the thumbs up, nothing down, how many of you are using deep research tools? So put your thumbs up if you are, thumbs down if you've not done any of this just yet. I'm intrigued to see how. Okay, so I've got my research plan, and I hit start with research. And this is just me I'm just warming you up to this stuff, but I wanted to kind of show you through some of the kind of significant tools as part of that beyond assessment piece out there. So 83, 5 up, 5, 1 down so far. So it's good to see. I think if I'd asked this question 6 months ago, we would have had significantly less people using these tools. But yeah, it's nice to see a few more. If you want to put in chat which particular ones you're using, it's always nice to hear what people are doing. But what I've been able to do with this, and this is the great thing about vibe coding, so this idea of using AI to chat and build things, is I've been able to ask Replit, which is the platform that I've built the Test Community Network website on, through chat, no coding at all by me, to build me a deep research tool. So you could go to the collection here and you could put a question in and start a research activity on there, and it will trawl through all these websites here for information that you're asking as part of it. So the potential for us in terms of our very niche area in kind of assessment is enormous. So we've got ChatGPT research, yeah, it's a good one to use. I'll come on to that in a second. So we'll come back to the research in a second. The other research tool I want to kind of just dip into very quickly is this just a bit of a back-end view of Airtable, which is one of the great little SaaS solutions. It's like how would you describe it? It's a online database type application. But what they've done added into their feature. So if you did want to use Airtable, it's only about 20 quid a month for one user. And what you can add is now I'm going to add in this field research agent. So I can create this agent in there with enabled internet search. I can do it so it goes against other documents as well. So if I wanted to do that, and pick a model that I wanted to use, give it a research task, your research agent, visit, and then link. We'll take it from that particular cell there and report back in recent news stories and from that business. And I built that and I ran that earlier, and it went through and did a trawl of the website. So there's kind of little research tools that you want to, because the thing about things like Google is I give a research task, and it's brilliant in the fact it's going to go off and trawl through all these sites here. But if I've got a narrow group of sites that I want to look at, it's worth having a look at tools like Airtable's research tool in there as well. So deep research tools. So it's still 6436 there. Thank you for showing that. It's good to kind of get a feel for where everyone is there. The other things, just quick other things I want to kind of show you in, I don't know if you've noticed this, but in ChatGPT, there's been some kind of new features that come out in ChatGPT if you're using that. But one nice little one is personality that you can add there. So if you're going to use settings and go to personalization, you can choose different, basically, personalities that you can have running within your work that you do. So if you want it to be a cynic, a listener, a researcher, a nerd, then that's something that you can add in as a feature in there. Because one of the challenges with these models that we have is that sometimes they're a bit pleasing, aren't they? And sometimes we want them to be really critical of the work that we do. So yeah, that's something to look at in your toolbox. The other one I just want to show you is Lovable. This is part of the vibe coding thing. So the tool you're using today, that's sitting below, I've created myself in Lovable. So what I've done is created this application where I can have multiple events. I can manage those events. I can set colors and parameters for this application. I can add in all my sponsors. So when I'm not showing a slide now, so I'll deactivate the slide, so it'll go back to the sponsors. So it'll go and scroll through here. And I can create these interactive tools because I wanted a Slido-y kind of tool, but I didn't want to pay for Slido. And also I didn't like what it did perfectly because it was kind of wedged within PowerPoint. I don't necessarily want that. I want that within this kind of tool and product. So I thought I'd go off and build something. And you can see here how I've built that. There's not much chat from me. So I've got the initial instruction that I've put in here. And, you know, just a few comments that I'm making, sort of saying, can you do this better? Can you change this? Add this feature, and it's come up with quite a cool tool. And I've done the same with I created a multiple choice authoring tool, which you can find on the marketplace to give it a go. But even in there, you've got the idea that I can create a project. So this is an item banking authoring tool. I can set it the levels of language, the language I want to use, give it some documents, upload it from there. And if we go through to this particular test here, I've added a bit of authoring task working there as well, so I can have authors working alongside me. It generates me these multiple choice questions, which I can regenerate the item, just the questions only. And yeah, so it kind of brings this question of, you know, where are we going with SaaS and software as a service if, you know, it's so easy to create and publish these applications yourself. So that's one of the item I wanted to show you. And then the other one, let's see, I'm going to activate the chat on this one. So is anyone using Notebook LM yet? Give us a vote. If you see below, you'll be able to vote. If you're not, it is absolutely incredible. And I've added some new features in this as well, which are really worth using, both for your own personal learning and development, but also for your business as well in terms of managing your documentation. Obviously, work within the parameters of what's acceptable by your organization. You know, you're relatively safe if you're on the pro plan of uploading semi-sensitive documents, but always check and make sure that the terms and conditions align to your business's documents. Don't necessarily go sharing anything that's sensitive, super sensitive up there, definitely. But just want to give you a quick tour. So you've got this kind of sources, so you can add in here any sources that you want to do. So I've got websites and YouTube and copy in there as well. I can then chat and ask questions against it. What is an MCQ? Simple question. It will go off and do a chat with that one. So this particular notebook, and it's a RAG model. So it's this kind of idea that I'm grounding it in the knowledge that I'm sharing. So I'm only sharing against this information here, and I can untick and tick these items so I can only chat against one particular document in there. I can create videos and flashcards. So flashcards, if you want to test your own knowledge on something, if you want to do a quiz, let's have a look at that. So you can do a multiple choice quiz with Donald Clark's one of the sources that I've got in here. So you can answer the quiz and it will give you feedback on that. And you can create these amazing videos as well. Let's just have a quick look at the video.
All right, let's talk about something we've all thought about.
This is where
How do we
the
really
audio
know what we
overview, so
know?
hopefully you can hear this.
I mean, how can you tell the difference between some...
Skip forward a little bit. But you can
So before we can explore the
put slides
alternatives, we
and
have
puts
to
the
start with
slides
the
and
king of the
video
castle, the
presentation
heavyweight champion of
together
the test.
for you in there, which is really cool. You've also got the debate stuff. So when I've been doing the debates series now on the Test Community Network, I've been generating that from the information. So you've got a series of or formats here. You can put in controls in there as well, so you can give it some specification as to what you want to happen as part of that. Let's see. Right. And the other one I also want to show you is agent work as well. So let's see how we go for time. So this is Comet. This is the Perplexity's free to download AI browser. So AI-enabled browser. And what it does is you've got an assistant in here as well, so you can chat just like you can do against any document. So it will look at this website and go off and search other information sources out there for you as well. But also you can voice chat with it as well. Let's see if this works. Hi, could you take this biology quiz for me, please?
Of course. Could you clarify what specific biology topic or content you're looking for? That'll help me find the right information for you.
I want you to take the one that's open on the web page now for me. I want you to take control and take the quiz for me. It's going to do it. So
I'm processing the request. Please hold a moment.
So yeah, we go. So it started off now doing that quiz for me. So imagine if this was a piece of learning material that you're giving out to one of your students or to your workforce, health and safety quiz or something like that, and all they start doing is just loading it up into their AI-enabled browser. Obviously, we've got online proctored tests, and this kind of the integrity thing is a big question for us. An online proctored test would hopefully not allow them to use this, because it would, you've got the lockdown browser client and you've got webcams recording what they're doing. You'd be able to spot what's going on, and cameras and all that kind of thing. But it's a significant consideration for us in our space. And we're going to close that off now, because I don't want to fry my processor too much. The same can be done within the agent mode within ChatGPT as well as here. So let's have a look. So not many of you using Notebook LM yet. I do recommend you do get onto that. It's worth going. I'm just going to let that one run for a second. So this is now taking the quiz for me. All been well. There we go. So we can let that run, and it will kind of hopefully start answering some of the questions for us in there. The final point I just want to kind of go to before we really start delving into more model stuff is is SEO, GEO, and AEO. So for those who don't know, you obviously you're a business owner, you've got a business, you're involved in your business, you want people to discover your sites and platforms and services, and there is this kind of increasing trend towards people just using AI-enabled tools to do this. And SEO was search engine optimization, so it's where you kind of optimize your site for to be picked up by the search models. Back in the day, when all you did was get those blue links coming through, and your mission in life as a business to be at the top of it. Some are calling it GEO, generative engine optimization, and others are calling it answer engine optimization. The QR code there is to a podcast by a podcast called Lenny's Podcast. And I do strongly recommend you, if you're into this area and interested in this area, you listen to that, because there's a guy on there who talks through his experience with it and his recommendations for using basically how to accommodate your content to make sure it's showing up in the models. And even if you, as well, if you don't want it to be showing up in the models, there might be some items that you don't want to be there. Okay. The other thing I just want to touch on very quickly is just this integrity side of things, some interesting developments here. So, we talked about AI getting smaller. We all see in the Meta Ray-Ban glasses with cameras in that can kind of read, etc. There's some other interesting ones that are coming out that's kind of scary in a way. So, the idea of this, it's called the Ollie Watch. where we've all seen this kind of classic Casio watches. Apparently, they were on the CIA's or the kind of Homeland Security's watch list for anyone coming into a country wearing one of those. There was it was one of their kind of triggers for them being a potential terrorist. I don't know why. I think it's because they're cheap and available. But now you can get out a unit you can swap out inside to make it a Bluetooth-enabled device in there. So in theory, you could start seeing content coming up from there. Now, they've not developed this with the particular intention of it being used for kind of cheating purposes, and I would say it's quite a narrow issue at the moment, but just that potential that you're going to start asking students to not only remove all earpieces and other items, but also watches are going to have to be banned from examinations as well, and going to be sat in our pants really, aren't we, in the future, taking these exams. This one here, PenGPT, is quite interesting. It's a little scan at the bottom, so you scan it as a kind of item. I've actually got one of these because it was my birthday yesterday. I've asked my wife for one, but it's going to take about a week or so to arrive. So once that one arrives, I'm quite excited to have a play with that and see what that does. This one here, slightly concerning-ish, is a smart pen, AI pen, which can talk to your phone, take notes, etc. It's not, I've watched the video through, it's not necessarily direct kind of, it will write something out for you. It's not going to take hold of control of your hand to start writing stuff, but it's just the fact that you get these kind of smaller and smaller devices that are enabled for this. I've done a webinar on this past, and if you do download the playbook, you can see the link to that webinar in there about integrity, and that's how I used Replit to build some cheat tools in there as well. And I do recommend that you within your organization start to look at this. So in play 14 of the playbook, talk about this RGB task force, so this red, green and blue team. So red looking at the integrity threats for you, green looking at the opportunities for AI and kind of productivity, etc. And then B looking at the horizon of what's coming. And this is where kind of lead to world models. So let's go through this then. So I think we're at this kind of significant point in our time, really, where we're going to start to see AI really start to kind of understand our world and surroundings. So, robotics, it's a hardware issue. You can converse with them now because they've been putting ChatGPT in, but as yet they've kind of struggled to kind of understand the space that sits around them and the kind of their impact and cause around them. This is some kind of wacky stuff that went on in kind of China, but one did kind of go forward and complete in a speed I think would actually exceed my ability to complete a half marathon. And so some interesting developments in the kind of robot space. And it's this kind of theory that when we go to Mars or planets beyond, we're going to be sending out robots out there before us, and they're going to be able to do kind of a lot of the tasks and everything. But as part of that process, they need to understand the world around us and interact with it correctly, not just use multiple sensors, radar and stuff like that, but also just kind of pure vision as part of that. I had a conversation a few weeks ago with this chap Mark Gray, and he kind of explored and shared with me his kind of insights.
So we've got involved in the wood processing.
So this is a
cobot
device.
People who make furniture, and they're starting to use.
One of the other use cases that he talks about there was the idea of using robots around the labs. And doing blood work, so be able to kind of actually do 24/7 blood work activities in there as well. Cars, we always want this idea of driverless cars, don't we? The kind of dream in a way that we can go to the pub, get in a car, and the car will drive us home because we don't need to do anything. And at the moment, we're kind of working on this kind of idea of feet off, and that's basically your cruise control features, hands off. That should be hands off, not hand. Eyes off and brain off as well. So, but that kind of throws up these massive issues. Okay, thanks, Graham. I'll have a look at that one. Thank you. There's a great article. It looks like a good article that Graham's posted in there. This idea that what happens when we need to then take back control of these devices. And there's a great, if you want to listen to a really good book, read it, then the one by Professor Hannah Fry, Hello World, is a really good book that takes you through the kind of algorithms and some of the challenges that we're facing. So does AI understand the physical world? Well, you may have seen this task before if you've done a presentation in the past. yeah, the idea that being able to describe a piece of paper falling to the ground is quite a difficult thing to do. So yeah, one of the challenges is there's just not enough literature out there to describe it, and that's why AI at the moment struggles to render it in the videos that it does. Now, this is about a year or so old, so it's okay. It's kind of got some items in there. It's a little bit rusty. This one does a better job. I think with that one I actually cheated a little bit because I gave it a series of images of different stages of the process, and it's getting better when I've got some audio on this one. So we're now in this position where we can kind of sync up audio as well as the visuals, and it's not just pixel prediction and diffusion models that are doing this. It's there's multiple models and engines that are coming in to do this. Now I gave this this is a VO3 model. The challenge of showing me what happens when a brick and a feather are dropped. Let's watch it. So quite a few things wrong with that. One is the strangeness of her legs. Obviously everything's settled on the grass there, but her legs seem to be buried in the ground. Did do a good job of the feather dropping down, and the brick, one of the bricks at least, although two seem to appear from nowhere, did bounce a little bit like you would expect a brick, and there was some audio in that as well. This again is the Nano Banana model from Gemini. And this is really starting to kind of, what they've done with this, it's one of the first models that came out that started to have this idea of a physics engine within it. So its ability to understand forces around it. So we've got two examples here. One asked it to create me a picture of a bow and arrow on there. I think it's done a reasonable job, and it's necessarily entirely accurate. And then the bridge, you've got tension compression, which I think is slightly more accurate example. And so it's the fact that one of the big issues was people kind of complain that okay, image generation that first came out, it couldn't do text, terrible at text, and it was awful. You couldn't have text on an image because it would just be gibberish. But now you can do that. You by having not just the kind of the pixel generation idea, you've got this ability to understand the text and language in it, but then you be able to kind of interpret and see the physics within an image. So in terms of assessment capabilities, the fact that you'd be able to generate images of objects and items, and it to accurately or relatively accurate be able to apply physics to it, is potential big benefit and time saver in terms of content generation and saving. I'm going to play this, give me yourself test have a little bit of break, but this is introducing the new Genie 3 model. It's not available yet, but I want to use this as a kind of basis for getting your thoughts. So watch this, and I'm going to put on the word cloud at the bottom below as well. I'll put it in the chat as well. Just tell me what your kind of immediate thoughts are about applications in assessment as you watch this.
What you're seeing are not games or videos.
Hopefully you can all hear.
They're worlds. Each one of these is an interactive environment generated by Genie 3, a new frontier for world models. With Genie 3, you can use natural language to generate a variety of worlds and explore them interactively, all with a single text prompt. Let's see what it's like to spend some time in a world. Genie 3 has real-time interactivity, meaning that the environment reacts to your movements and actions. You're not walking through a pre-built simulation. Everything you see here is being generated live as you explore it. And Genie 3 has world memory. That's why environments like this one stay consistent. World memory even carries over into your actions. For example, when I'm painting on this wall, my actions persist. I can look away and generate other parts of the world. But when I look back, the actions I took are still there. And Genie 3 enables promptable events, so you can add new events into your world on the fly. Something like another person, or transportation, or even something totally unexpected. You can use Genie to explore real-world physics and movement, and all kinds of unique environments. You can generate worlds with distinct geographies, historical settings, fictional environments, and even other characters. We're excited to see how Genie 3 can be used for next-generation gaming and entertainment. And that's just the beginning. Worlds can help with embodied research, training robotic agents before working in the real world, or simulating dangerous scenarios for disaster preparedness and emergency training. World models can open new pathways for learning, agriculture, manufacturing, and more. We're excited to see how Genie 3's world simulation.
So, some exciting stuff.
There was
there.
a really nice quote that I came across, which is that almost no prerequisite.
Yeah, really interesting stuff there. What's your thoughts? I'm going to show you something else in a second, and we're a bit of a way off. I think, yeah, we're a little bit of a way off all that just yet. Where's that gone? That's one button. But yeah, we are seeing some significant stuff now. I don't know if you've seen Sora 2 come out. Put it in the chat. Give me your thoughts. World of Virtual. Thank you. So this was Sora 2 that came out. I've not got access to this just yet. It's something which is available in America at the moment. Again, kind of down to that kind of classic. America gets it, and then we get it a little bit later. But it's gone kind of viral. I think not necessarily for the right reasons, because all we've seen from it is lots of videos of Stephen Hawking driving down the motocross racing and things like that. But this one particular, I think, is that kind of fluid dynamics one, the ability for it to kind of understand and capture what happens when someone does a backflip. Now, Gemini are kind of close behind. I tried to get them on their newest model. I think it's available for me today, actually, Veo 3.5. And you can kind of see it's not quite getting it there yet. So I think Sora's done a very good job of adding this kind of physics to it into it. Some kind of weird thing going on with his back there. But I would be quite, in terms of potential applications, I guess. I think so I'll kind of run you through some of those.
Can benefit research around the world.
I'll just go back to that. Okay. I think this one here is kind of the idea of the painting. Yeah, that kind of practical act you can actually give people. Obviously been to my Pilates class, yeah. The idea that you can actually immerse people in these kind of physical spaces where they can actually do work and construct in there in a kind of safe way and in safe environment as well, it is huge. Let me just bring my slide back up. Go away. And I think one of the big differences is that while large language models can focus on predicting the next token, so that's the kind of next part of a sentence, and that's how they work. They make their way through these things. Video models look at the next frame and scene, so what they would be expected, and that's how they work. They kind of think, well, what's going to happen next? It's kind of pixel prediction for them. This world model needs to do it on a kind of really significantly deeper understanding of the reality of the world. So we're a bit of way to go with this, but the fact that it's going to have to be able to kind of process physics, causality, cause and effects, and the spatial space. But just watching that Genie 3 one, the fact that you've got promptable events that could be added straight into an environment, so you can get reactive things in there. Robert Burns says Sora 2 is amazing. You can have incredible things with it, easy to get sucked into and spending hours on it, but the potential implications are quite frightening. There are. So I think one of the nasty things potentially about Sora 2 is the fact that you can obviously replace characters out with people that or imagery. And I think the idea is that you can add your own image in there and give that to friends to be able to do stuff with. That I don't think I'd give my image to my friends to do stuff with. But when we're looking at these kind of future models for this, and it is a way off. What if you think about Sora 2 and its abilities to kind of generate images and videos, which kind of short clips, that is great to be able to use that as generation as a stimulus for assessment items. or even if we can kind of reverse engineer this, so you can video someone changing a tire in a car and do kind of observational based assessments on that more and more. So almost kind of layer in, using these tools to kind of layer in that assessment tool as well. But then this idea that you could place people in a kind of simulating kind of future dangerous scenarios, exploring real world physics and real time interactive promptable training as well in there. So I think just to me it's incredible as to where this is going to go. Can you give it a process to reproduce in some way? You could do, I think. You think if it's trained on enough information, Graham, you could, I suppose if it's observed things, because at the moment AI is great at being able to, I suppose, process images and process activities and learn and train from that. So if you can extract the information out there, you can then give it repeatable items in there and put some in a simulated space to do that. So yes, I think you could go through that process. I think where we are at the moment is I kind of wanted to pose this one out there because I think it's so incredible that what we could have these interactive spaces. You walk into a firefighting disaster and you pick up the extinguisher and you just you kind of douse the flames, and it goes just beyond where we've had 3D simulated environments before. It just takes it to the next step in that process. The fact that you can actually physically interact, and it's not just a video. And a bit like games, you could a game engine could have alternative situations arising, and you see that with these kind of sandbox games where you roam around a landscape and all sorts of different stuff in. But it's all programmed in. This is just everything happening on the fly, and I think that's the bit that's absolutely incredible for me over there. So, look, I want to continue this kind of conversation on it. I think this is an area that we all, need to kind of have half an eye on at least as part of the process. So, I would be interested after this if you want to share with me kind of thoughts via email or something. Get in contact with me and just but this is all part of just looking to that future. We've got the immediate threats now in terms of integrity and the fact that we need to kind of redesign our assessment, but I think there's a significant need for us to start looking further beyond, particularly with things like Sora 2 coming out, how the applications of that kind of technology can be brought in, but just this next level of Genie 3. And it'd be great if we had a little research project going on about assessment in kind of a world 3. You're absolutely right, Graham. It's quite difficult to get around it at the moment. It's just one of those things where we just need to keep in touch with it, and that's what I wanted really to do today, to kind of introduce this topic to you, introduce the idea to you, and get it out there. So that's it from me. Unless you've got any other questions, please feel free to fire them off or drop me a line afterwards. I hope you found just this as an opening topic really for this useful, and some of the other beyond assessment ideas that I've shared with you today, just some of the kind of features and tools that are coming out in there. I do strongly recommend if anyone's starting out on their AI literacy journey, then I do recommend that something like Notebook LM is a good place for them to start. And obviously if you want to download the playbook, that will give your organization a bit of more of an insight as to how you can adopt AI within it. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it, and I'll speak to you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.